Here's an interview from one of our past shows on Rock and Metal Revival. If you're interested in hearing full shows, go to our Facebook page and check out our list of affiliates for times and places where you can hear Rock and Metal Revival. There's the latest from Tesla. It's called S.O.S. Too Bad, from their latest live album from Tesla called Full Throttle Live. And with us today is Tesla lead vocalist Jeff-Keith. Welcome back to the show, Jeff.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it.
It's always great to hear new music from Tesla, and to have it live as a bonus. I love the fact that not many bands will release a live cut as a single, but you guys are such a great live band. It's not really an issue for you guys, is it?
No, it's not. Hey, man, we're just the real deal up there having fun, and it's great when they push into the red and they record it, and things turn out great, and that's what's worked best for us.
Now, Jeff, I got to ask. Did you guys plan to record that show at the Throttle, or do you could record them all?
We, these days with all the technology and stuff, we record every show in case if there's something that they have to look into. But I believe they record every show, and just so it turns out they listen back to it, and Frank and Brian and them, and said, "Hey, this sounds great. Let's put this out as a record from live from Full Throttle Saloon, which is at the bike rally in Sturgis." Yeah, and so it came out great. We, just had fun with it, and that's what works best for us. Have fun with it, record it, and let's go.
Yeah, you guys killed it, and the song that I was so happy to hear live on there was one from one of my favorite albums, and that's "Miles Away." That song is such a great song. I just think that song got lost, don't you?
Well, that's off of Into the Now, which we made ourselves after we got back together in 2000. And so that was up in some little studio. Frank, he lived up in Pollock Pines, and he had a little studio next to a bowling alley. And we had one of our techs come in, and he made all these ISO boots and all that. And next, we made a record there, Into the Now, which is one of my favorite records. So it never got a shot to have singles and all that kind of stuff. So now's our chance.
It really sounds great. One of the questions I really wanted to ask you today, and what was the decision behind covering an Aerosmith song as a single?
I think Frank came up and said, "Hey, man, we should cover S.O.S. Too bad." And so when they asked me, I'm like, "Let's go." Love Aerosmith. It's one of our biggest inspirations and throughout the whole band. And you just can't, there's some songs that you just can't go wrong with, and that's one of them.
That is true, and I still love listening to those reel-to-reel albums you guys put out when you guys did those albums of covers, and you guys just killed everything on it. Is there any cover song, Jeff, that you haven't done that you would love to?
Well, reel-to-reel, we planned on just doing one disc, and we were having so much fun with it. It was hard picking to just narrow it down to one disc, so we made two, and we've covered so many songs and had so much fun with it that there's probably one or two out there that I wish we would have got on there, but you can only fit so much onto a disc. So where does it end?
Yeah, I hear you. Jeff, I've been going to Tesla's songs since the first time seeing you guys at Summerfest in Milwaukee back in 1987, which I'll never forget that show, man. That was amazing. And I've been amazed on how well your voice has held up over the years. Now, I was just reading Steven Tyler from Aerosmith had to reschedule dates due to vocal issues. How do you keep your vocals so strong after all these years?
Well, that's a good question because I really don't know what I'm doing, Greg. But just warm it up before sound check, and just it's just coming from the heart is the best way I can see it. Coming from the right place, from the diaphragm, and all that kind of stuff. But just when you're playing or singing from the heart, it just comes across, and the people pick up on that vibe, and therefore it's just full circle, and we're feeding off them, they're feeding off us. But we were always told, when you write a song, write it from the heart, because you may never sell any records. You may never be playing in front of a big crowd. It may just you may never get that chance, but if you write a song from the heart, you can get up there on stage and just play it and sing it from the heart. And that was the best advice we ever got, because we get up there and we're having fun and we're playing and singing from the heart, and it's worked out well for us. And that therefore is why live albums worked out really well for us, because it's like the 5-man acoustical jam we were having fun doing that. We were out on tour with Motley Crue. We had 2 nights off in a row. We'd find some clubs that would allow us to play our songs acoustically, which was fun, because some songs like Modern Day Cowboy, instead of that wall of amplifiers, we did it acoustically in a different form, and it really becomes fun and creative for us. And so live, especially for me, it's better off just not even knowing and like saying, hey, we're recording this show live. And that's what comes across the best, because we're up there just doing what we love to do.
And you guys really,
and it comes across.
I mean, I've seen so many Tesla shows, and you guys always look like there's such a good vibe going on stage, and like you guys are really having a good time, like it's not work for you.
Absolutely. And and I will admit that back in the 80s or the 90s, I could sing things in the regular key of E. So for quite some time now, we've the guys have tuned down a half step, and then there's certain songs that maybe is tuned down a whole step, so I can still sing the same exact melody, but it is, as opposed to what's on the record, it's just tuned down.
Yeah.
And drop D, whatever they call it, is as low as you can go, otherwise the strings just get blah, blah. So, you know what? That works out well for us, and my voice is still holding up. Try to take care of it. Make sure on days off, I'm resting it. We don't do 3 in a rows anymore. We just do 2 in a row and have a day off. So a lot of things like that is, with the voice being your instrument, I really got to take care of it and just try not to overdo it. And for a guy like me, that's hard to do, but I'm able to do it because I'm just so high-strung,
I hear you. And, Jeff, I was reading an article about, how the band is doing a Vegas residency at the House of Blues. And I see a lot more bands doing this more and more. Is this something that you enjoy more than being out on the road with that daily grind?
Well, you know what, Greg? To be honest with you, we did one in March, which turned out great. And when we were first approached with it, I was like, I like seeing a different crowd every night. I like going from town to town. But it's a really big deal. And Brian Weed, our bass player who manages the band also, he said, Jeffrey, this is a big deal. A lot of bands don't get this opportunity. And we did it. And it was actually fantastic, because it wasn't all the same people all 5 nights in a row, all 5 shows. It was a lot of people coming from all over the country. There was even some fans that came from around the country. And who doesn't love to go to Vegas and just let their hair down and see their favorite band? So it really worked out so great that the one in March was so successful that we're doing it here on the 29th or the 29th of September into October 7th. We're doing 5 shows in 10 days. So really, it's a fantastic thing, and it's a really big deal to be able to do and have the opportunity. So we're very fortunate for that.
That is outstanding. Jeff, I always like to ask an artist, what was the first song or artist that made you want to do what you do and be a musician?
Well, you see, I'm not your average person. My first concert was when I was 19.
Okay.
Day on the Green #3 in 1978 at the Oakland Coliseum.
Wow.
Van Halen opened the show, and then AC/DC came out with Bon Scott, Knock 'em Young, and just, I was like, who are these guys? And Bon Scott's in his jeans and tennis shoes. And of course, Aerosmith headlined the show, which was amazing because I love Aerosmith. But Bon Scott in those jeans and tennis shoes and rocking that mic, probably my very biggest inspiration. And then that was my first concert at 19 years old.
Wow.
So I joined City Kid when I was 24, and then we changed the name and came out with our first record when I was 28. So I'm not one of those where I grew up, looking in magazines. I live in a small town, population 900. It didn't have no store with magazines. Didn't have no record stores. We just passed around 8-track tapes and just, enjoy good music. So I was totally one of those Cinderella-like stories, like in Finding Nemo, like caught the drift, dude.
Yes.
And I got very fortunate and learned how to work the mic and that kind of stuff, and then writing songs from the heart. So I never thought I was going to grow up to be a rock star. I was already, in my 20s.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and it just happened to work out. And the best part about it, Greg, is it's still working, and the voice is still holding up. Try to take precautions and be careful and sing from the heart, from the diaphragm. And as long as I can sing them songs, our plan is we're going to go until I just can't sing anymore. And so far, it's on.
All right. Hey, a few years ago, we had Brian on the show, and that was right when he put out his autobiography. And we were wondering, is there any plans on maybe a Jeff Keith autobiography in the future?
Greg, even if I wanted to write a book, which I'm not I'm good for writing songs, but a book, I wouldn't be no good at writing a book. And a lot of the facts, Greg, I probably can't remember half of them.
Okay. Because
maybe it was just a little too woo. Because we went through our time where it was just like, hey, woo, you don't remember sometimes a week at a time. And I'm saying, and when I say that, Greg, I want everybody to know. Every night we got on stage, we gave it everything we got. But as far as writing a book, I can't remember all these timelines. Right. Just, I can remember all these great moments, and we're still having great moments. But I'm just not a book writer, so no, I wouldn't be expecting a book out from Jeff Keith anytime soon.
I understand, brother. I do. And I guess I gotta, this question's kind of personal. This is one that I just have to ask. I know you're a high energy guy and always, you're always going and going. What does Jeff Keith do to relax?
Well, I just had a whole weekend up in Chico. My son's Joe Bob is 12. He plays travel ball, and I love baseball. So, get to watch him play, and just 2 weeks ago, maybe we're out on the road. Me and Brian Wheat and a few other people from our crew. We went to a Chicago White Sox game. Next, if we're got a day off in Pittsburgh, I'm going to a baseball game there. I love to go to a baseball game, ride my dirt bike. Yeah. I love that. I love riding the trails here in Northern California. So, but you're talking about relaxation, right?
Yeah, I'm just talking what you do in your time off to relax.
Well, there you go. That's what I do in my time off.
Cool.
And it's relaxing, but it takes a lot getting up and down those trails. But I like that. It takes my mind off of everything. But I like to just kick back, and I like to kick back and relax.
Cool.
I'm definitely that kind of guy. Yeah.
Well, now, Jeff, when we get out of these interviews, we let the artist pick any song from their catalog, and there's got to be one that you consider your baby, don't you? That we would play out of this interview.
All right, let's see. Trying through my head to try to think of all our songs and all of our records, and let's go with. Well, we played that live. Changing the Weather, I was going to say, because we played that live lately. Oh, I know one.
Okay.
Steppin' Over.
Oh, what a great song. All right. I love that song. Jeff, I just personally, I want to thank you for so many, many great years of music and shows. And I hope Tesla just keeps kicking ass for many, many more to come. And you're always welcome back on Rock and Metal Revival.
Thanks, Greg. I appreciate that very much.